Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
But it's great to be back in my home state, Florida, to make my official return to the campaign trail. I am so energized by your prayers and humbled by your support. We've had such incredible support, and here we are. We're going to finish. We're going to make this country greater than ever before. Thank you. Thank you.
And there he was, back in Florida. Florida's an odd place, right? It's a bit of the old-style Wild West, even though it's not on the West. But it's wide open. You kind of do what you want there in Florida. They're trying to clamp down on stuff. Used to be the place where it's like, you want to own a monkey? You can own a monkey. You want to own a tiger? You can own a tiger. There's only a few states left like that anymore. Florida is one of those states where you used to be able to do a lot of different things. This weekend, they're going to have a football game. Dan Mullen, the coach, Florida Gators, said, I want to see 90,000 fans in the swamp. That's what they call the stadium. Why? Because Ron DeSantis is like, yeah, go ahead. That's Florida. Everybody else is like, hey, check it out. Coronavirus. We need to stay indoors forever. This thing's here. Trump's like, I'm going to go to Florida and I have a big rally and nobody's going to wear a mask. And I don't really care because they're grown-up people. And if you get sick, that's on you. Calculated risk. Everybody's like, it's bad. It makes me laugh a little bit because it's Florida. Hey, you know what? Trump, tell everyone what you're going to do.
Now they say I'm immune. I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss.
It's the President of the United States. I'll kiss you. Beautiful women. Not kissing ugly ones because nobody wants to see that. We all agree? We can agree. That's your bias right there. He's biased towards ugly women. Yeah. But watching all the news freak out, they're like, oh, my God, nobody's wearing a mask. Here's the way I look at the mask thing, right? I wear a mask because I'm respectful. I work with people that worry about getting this. One of my producers for my other show has some underlying conditions, and he's not missed any days. He comes in every single day. He wears a mask, and if he got sick, would he die? No, but I will tell you this. He could potentially get very sick. I wear a mask because I respect my coworkers. I also respect the fact that, you know what, people are grown-ups. You're a grown-up. You don't want to wear a mask? Now, the store has the right to say you can't come here. The place has the right to say you can't do this. There are rules in certain places, and that's rules for all kinds of stuff, by the way. Can I just remind everybody, there are rules for everything. We go back to the whole Costco thing. You want to buy, 50 gallons of mayonnaise, and they tell you got to wear top hat and tails. That's the rule if they put that in place to get into the place. Right now, if you go to Costco, you got to have a membership. You're just going to walk in there. It's my right. Jesus told me it was my right. God told me it was my right. Yahweh told. No, it's not. Not a constitution. I'm saying all of that. I'm one of these people that have always been in favor of a light touch when it comes to the coronavirus compared to some of the stuff we have. The problem is that people get mad that this thing is, look at the way that we've handled this. I mean, this, if anything, if Trump loses, and if you go and look at the polls, there was 3 polls that got it right. Some people say 2 polls, but there are 3 polls. I think it was the Gravis poll, and they mostly deal in states, and they got it right in certain states. It was the LA Times USC poll, and they got it right as well. And yesterday we talked about the Investor Business Daily and the TIPP poll, which got it right in 2016. They all have Biden winning at this moment, but not by a lot. Anything can happen. There are days when I think Trump's going to lose this. And then there are days where I think he may win this. And then there are days when I think Trump's going to get blown out of the water. And then there are days I think we may be surprised again. And watching MSNBC and everybody on that night go, oh, my God, I can't believe he's 4 more years and now he's unfiltered. You don't know. But I do know this. We're 21 days away. We're in the 400 plus hours away from election time. So soak that up for a second. Soak that up for just a moment. Just breathe it in. Breathe it in. Because It's been exhausting. Let's look back at the year. Started, what happened? Kobe Bryant dies. Shock. Wow. 41 years old. The guy who retires as one of the greatest of all time, and he dies at 41. Him, other people, his daughters, in a helicopter crash. You move forward. COVID becomes more and more of a reality. Our life changes overnight. The entire world comes to a screeching halt. Along the way, George Floyd and social unrest, as that continues to go. Then you have RBG dying. And now you've got, of course, the SCOTUS hearings that are going on right now with the Amy Coney Barrett hearings and all of this stuff. And throughout this entire situation, a presidential race. And every day, people get excited because they think this is the last day of Trump's. These are it. These are the waning days of Trump's reign. And then you look over and then you think, is that true? Because there was a lot of people in Florida last night. And dare I say, everywhere he goes, there's a lot of people. There is. With Biden? I don't know. I don't know if there's a quiet majority for Biden. The polls would say so. But as we know, the polls have been wrong. And people get mad at me because I talk about the polls. Chad, you're a hater of Trump. I'm not a hater. I'm just delivering the news and the data and then throwing my opinion out there. But I'm not making the news up. I'm not making the polls. Not like Anthony, producer Anthony and I are like, all right, let's call 500 people each and we'll find out what the polls say. It doesn't work that way. I'm going by the pollsters I talk to and the polls that I read and I study. Because everybody sees the smattering of what the polls look like. This is what it is. But for everybody else, and for some people who subscribe to some of these things, you can go in and look deeper and deeper into these things. And this is what I see. Some people feel like this thing's already over.
Vote will be in on election night to have an early evening, to have enough of it done and dusted so we'll know a result?
Absolutely. We'll have Florida in election night. We'll have North Carolina in. I think a good bit of Georgia will be in. We're going to know, not only are we going to know election night, we're going to know 10:30 Eastern. This thing is not going to be close. We're going to know early. I'm not in any panic whatsoever.
That's James Carville. Is that possible? Yeah, because we're all bracing for the what? The worst. We're all thinking, there's no way, man. This isn't going to happen. This thing could take months. It's possible. I mean, the reality is it is possible this thing could take a very long time. Let's go back and you go look at what took place with Bush Gore. January 6th is when everything was said and done because of the courts, and everybody's like, well, according to this and this, and it's got to be done by December. Here's the thing. Once it gets to the courts, it is what it is at this point in time. So here's the reality of it at this moment in time. Anything can happen on the night. Trump could win, and it could be decisive. And people are going to be like, oh, my God. And pollsters nobody will ever listen to a pollster again. They could get it right this time. And it could be a blowout. And Biden could win. And we could sit back and go, well, there we go. All right, so it's done. Or you could have what a lot of people are predicting. The red mirage, which is on the night, Trump had pretty decently, but not everything is fully in. Plenty of votes still to be counted. You go out there and you look and you find out by Sunday that had flipped, and all of a sudden it went from Trump in the lead to Biden in the lead. Then lawsuits happen and away we go. I have no idea. You listen to James Carville, he's already excited. He's figuring out what kind of dinners they're going to throw at the White House when Biden is president. It's probably going to be something in the Jell-O range, but we're not quite sure.
I'm just on edge because the stakes are so high, but I feel very good about where the Democrats are, and I probably see as much polling as anybody in the country. And if anything, it continues to improve. I kind of thought that natural gravity would take it down, but that doesn't seem to be happening as of yet. And we got 3 weeks before we go to post, and I think we're going to know. I anticipate opening a bottle of champagne.
I could be wrong. Could eat his words. A lot of people were ready to celebrate in 2016. And I just remember we were doing our show, and we did a special that night, and it went on all night. And it was one of those things where we're doing this and we're watching this unfold in that 2016, and the shock of seeing stuff come in and starting to realize Trump may have this. And, because it kind of unfolded the way that a lot of people thought it was going to unfold earlier in the evening. But then there was an expected domino here, and then another domino fell. And then all of a sudden you started looking, and all of a sudden the path for her, as you start to calculate out, became far and far more difficult. And then it became almost impossible. And then the realization that even though not everything was said and done, that he was president, that he had passed, he had won, he had crossed the finish line, and she couldn't catch him. That is all a possibility. It is. But what I do know is 21 days till Trump has some making up to do. And Biden, stay the course. You can call him hiding Biden. You can call him all the things you want. You can get mad at him for a lot of different things. And nobody's enthused about Biden on the left, by the way. Nobody's enthused. Nobody's like, oh my God, I can't believe Joe Biden. I've been waiting for this my whole life. 47 years, a career politician who's done oh so little. This guy's going to change everything. No, it's not what it is. It's Trump versus Trump. But can Trump do enough to energize people in the last 21 days who haven't already voted? Know this, 10 million people plus have voted. This time in 2016, it was closer to 800,000. And the Democrats already hold a massive, massive lead when it comes to that. Can Trump do something to once again jump out of the frying pan? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Hello, Fresh. I went home last night. You know what I had? Ribs. What? Yes. Delicious. Hello Fresh is amazing. It's incredible. Delivered right to you. Contact free. You don't have to worry about anything. You can spice it up the mealtime. And, of course, as we all know, fall is here, so start something new. So what do you get? 22 chef-curated recipes each week. So you choose. Do you want low-calorie? Do you want vegetarian? Do you want family-friendly? Choices are yours right there. And every night can be something amazing. They got Surf and Turf, craft burgers, and taste tour, gourmet feast. Yum, 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 yum. The meals can be ready in as little as 20 minutes with HelloFresh. So you go, you pick the meal you want. You've got the recipe card right there. You say, I'm going to do this. You put everything together. You cook it up. Next thing you know, within about 20 minutes, you're sitting down at the table and you're eating, and the price is right. If you go to the store, compared to this, you're going to save yourself about 40% versus shopping at your local grocery store. For me, it's far more than that because I'm not walking around going, ooh, I think I should have that. Ooh, Oreos. No. HelloFresh saves you big time. And more servings means more savings. You can order larger HelloFresh boxes with better value, as always. And you can pause when you need to. Maybe you're traveling, or you can add meals. Maybe you got family coming in. It is incredible. HelloFresh is there to fit your lifestyle. Get started with America's #1 meal kit. You go to HelloFresh.com. Use code Benson. $80 off across 5 boxes, including free shipping on your first box. That's promo code Benson for $80 in savings. HelloFresh.com. The Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Bumped from July by massive delivery delays, Amazon Prime Day started at midnight Pacific time and runs through midnight tomorrow night. More than 1 million items are being discounted, with smart home devices, TVs, laptops, and robot vacuums creating buzz among people spending a lot more of their time at home. Given pandemic-related business slowdowns and layoffs, analysts say luxury items may not do as well this year.
Yeah, probably not, but I still think it's going to be an okay year. I mean, if we surprise in the fourth quarter, that's huge. For all the negativity of where the economy is and the struggles that people have and what's going on, 85% of us are still working, and we're also in a world now where we're fortunate enough that we can do a lot of stuff remotely. And that's a huge thing. We do talk too often about the negativities. We do talk too often because negativity sells, but you've got to talk about the things that are real. And I talk to some of my friends out there who have lost their jobs, or their jobs are on pause. And their big thing is, yeah, they want to go back to work. They're who doesn't? But if they're not going to have the chance to go back to work like that, or this thing's going to go on indefinitely, they want to know that and go find something else. right, and move on. And there's a lot of people out there that feel that way. It is a frustrating time. And depending on the state you're at, you're in California, you're in a much different environment than, say, if you're in Florida, obviously. It was like, Florida's like, come on, do whatever you want. Where if you're in Arizona, a little different. You're in Oregon, maybe a little bit different. You're in Iowa, Wisconsin's going through stuff, Oklahoma. Every place has their moment, it seems to be, with this virus. But it's what's the reaction going to be from the leaders, and how do they take it? Are they going to, are they going to ride, the tide up and down, and they're going to just like, we're going to go with this, we're going to make it happen, we're going to slow some things down to try to, make sure that it doesn't get out of hand, but we're not going to cut everything off because we can't afford to do that. And, it's tough, depending who your governor is and what your cities are like. I mean, you look at California is a perfect example. Like, is Florida maybe going too far? It's possible. But you look at California, have they gone too far the other way? They're talking about, well, we need to even do more. It's like, wait a minute here. And this is the other thing. Everybody wears a mask. You can't go anywhere. Schools aren't open. All of this stuff that you put in restriction-wise, and it's still a problem for you guys. Like, that's insane. But Florida's like, we're open for business. Let's do it. Well, that's just wrong. Calculated risk. As an adult, you take calculated risk. If you feel that you want to go see Trump speak or Biden speak or whoever, and you don't want to wear a mask and they're not making you wear a mask and you get sick, that's on you. Calculated risk. We take one each and every single day. Calculated risk. But people are frustrated. What's Christmas spending going to be like? That'll be interesting to see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Very interesting. Show the wacky world of algorithms and how real Facebook is. Yesterday they did something that everybody kind of applauded and that I'm not going to applaud. And they did something to us today that's going to make you go, what? Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Now, you called the Rose Garden event, though, a super spreader event. We know that previous Trump rallies in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Minnesota have led to infections and illnesses, possibly even death. How worried are you about these rallies?
You know, Jake, put aside all of the issues of what political implications a rally has, and just put that aside and look at it purely in the context of public health. We know that that is asking for trouble when you do that.
You can't put aside, Fauci. First of all, Trump brought you into it, and you understand the political game, and this is the interesting thing. So everybody always says, let's talk about the data. Let's talk about I like talking about the data. Let's actually talk about the data. And I think it's a good thing. Because last night, Trump holds a rally. A bunch of people showed up. It's not a shocker. And you wouldn't even know what he said. All it said was Trump's audience doesn't wear a mask or social distance. That's all it says. It doesn't say anything else. You wouldn't know what he said. He could have said, I'm done. And it wouldn't have mattered because nobody's paying attention at all. The only other person who got attention was Jim Acosta, and CNN sucks, which made me laugh. Mostly because Jim Acosta, to me, he wants to be as big as the stories. And being in this business for as long as I've been in this business, knowing the people in this business as I do, working with them, interviewing them, and vice versa, I will tell you, Trump's ego, while bigger than Acosta's, isn't that much bigger. Just throwing that out there. But is this the right time or the wrong time? Is Trump throwing caution into the wind? Is this is another super spreader event?
When you have situations of congregate settings where there are a lot of people without masks, the data speak for themselves. And now is even more so a worse time to do that, because when you look at what's going on in the United States, it's really very troublesome. A number of states right now are having increase in test positivity. States above the Sun Belt, states in the Sun Belt, states in the Northwest and the Midwest. It's going in the wrong direction right now. So if there's anything we should be doing, we should be doubling down.
What's doubling down? To me, that's, what is it? Because while that's true, we have some states going in the wrong direction. I always say, look at two things: the hospitalization, and also look at the kids. And by kids, I mean young adults, because that's where the prime age is. And I don't know if you look at this, but this tends to be working its way through pretty much every state. It's hitting its state, and then for whatever reason it takes hold, and it permeates and continues to go through, and then it seems to kind of move on. It never really disappears, but that first brunt of it, and then it moves somewhere else. And states that seem to be essentially looked over or thought they did a good job, California and some of these other states that are doing all of this stuff, are still seeing issues with the rise. It's like, what more do you do? I mean, my goodness me, Gavin Newsom's like, stay indoors, wear a mask, don't go outside, don't see anybody, don't talk, don't breathe, don't do any of this stuff. Can't live your life that way. You can't. We got to start thinking about how we get back out there. It's an absolute must. We've said all along, at some point in time, what? The cure becomes worse than the disease. Well, the data shows. You can show me data, and these people show me data. Which one do you believe? Well, it depends. Well, what does it depend on? Depends on your political leaning. And it also depends on how you want to read the data. Some people will come and say, well, for elderly, you only have there's 3, 4, 5 times the likelihood that you may die from this. Mm-hmm. But it's still 97% chance that you're going to survive. On the other side, some people will say, oh, there's a 97% chance you're going to survive this. And on the other side, people will say, well, yeah, but you're still 5 times more likely, 6 times, 8 times, 10 times more likely to die from it. That's how you phrase it. Pro-life, pro-choice. What we know is what we should focus on. We know how to treat it better. That's a bonus. We're getting closer to having therapeutics that are working and going to be working. The vaccine will get here eventually. As much as we want to force the end of this thing as far as the vaccine goes and rush, it's just not going to happen. It's going to do what it does in the studies and the scientists and the doctors and the medical community, no matter how much Trump wants it to happen. It ain't going to happen that way. And as we understand it better, we know how we can target protection for people that are vulnerable. And the other side of things, tell people that at some point in time, we make a calculated risk in life. Schools, big study out yesterday. Kids in schools really aren't spreaders. And we've talked about this from the beginning. Doesn't seem to be that way, especially kids under like 12. So what do we do there? That's a question. Kids need to be back in school. I know this. My son suffered in a lot of different ways when he didn't have any physical interaction with any of his friends, and it was really closed down for the first several months. And then he came out here, and he got a lot more stuff to do, and he has friends, and he's playing with and doing all. But then back home, he's now back in school, but he's not in school. I'm actually paying for him to go to his school that's not open, and his teachers who aren't there are actually teaching from their house, and he's got a tutor because all of his friends are there. And it has changed it tremendously. I think we underestimate the psychological damage of what's going on. Calculated risk. It sounds horrible because when you say something like that, people, oh, you hate people. You want everybody to die. I'm like, that's totally it. By the way, I'm going to let everybody know life is terminal. And it's stupid that we have to say, well, we don't want anybody to die. The reality is people are going to die. We want to do the best we can to mitigate all of these things across the board. To learn what this is all about how we can go and slow the spread, protect the people that need to be protected, who are truly at the most risk and vulnerable, but also understand that there are other things. And as we're doing that, and we've done that for several months, we have destroyed other parts of people's lives. And it's just finding the best way to balance it with common sense, which we lost because common sense, well, is not common anymore. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Johnson & Johnson, speaking of the coronavirus, the vaccine, yesterday,
drug maker Johnson & Johnson pausing its coronavirus vaccine study, reporting our participants suffered an unexplained illness. Researchers are studying whether the experimental drug is the cause. The company saying in a statement that illnesses and other so-called adverse events are expected in large clinical studies. The pause is at least the second hold among several vaccine trials that have reached the final testing stage in the U.S.
Yeah, and there's 60,000 people that are currently on the Johnson & Johnson trial train, if you will. Out of those 60,000, 30,000 are placebos. They don't know if this is somebody who's on the placebo or on the actual thing. And it's one. It's not like, oh, there was 12,000 of them that something happened. The instantaneous blindness on the second shot or whatever. It's they don't know, and they'll check. We had the other one. I think it was it Moderna or one of the other ones that had a pause because of something that had to do with somebody's spine and stuff. And then after they paused, checked everything, they started it back up again. That's what you want to happen. That's what you're doing. That is because even if this thing is, the FDA never says, hey, this thing's good to go. Some people will still have adverse reactions. That's going to happen. For some people, it may not be perfect. It may not work. It may make them sicker than people realize. You're playing with massive numbers. You got to look at the entire data, which we don't do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. So, yesterday, Facebook decided if you are going to post stuff about the Holocaust, denying or lying, that they're going to take it down or... And I'm not a big proponent. Look, if you believe this crap and you want to share it, well, that's sharing disinformation or misinformation, or whatever. But as an adult, for me, as a grown human being, I feel like, you know what, I'm not an idiot. I can decipher this stuff for myself. But you're also dealing with algorithms. So earlier today, on our page, and this just shows you the wackiness of the algorithms, we posted something about Greta Thunberg, who has endorsed Joe Biden for president. Now, she's Swedish and she's 17, so her coming out and saying that because she likes the Paris Climate Accords and Joe is a big part of that and blah, 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 blah. That's why she did it, and she's become, well, she's put herself out there. Let's be real. She's a climate activist. She's put herself out there. So we posted that with a picture of her, and it comes back that says, basically, this is not true. Well, no, it is true. It did, right? But here, let me show you what the algorithms are about. So it says this isn't true. It says false information. The same information was checked by another post by independent fact checkers. And so this is what it says on our thing. Greta Thunberg has endorsed Joe Biden for the presidency. Right? That's true. Right? So it says see why. So we go in there and we see why. It says false. There's no evidence that Thunberg's ever called for this action. I said, what? So then you hit the fact check. And what does it take you to? It takes you to an article that says, did Greta Thunberg ask the Chinese government to stop using chopsticks? That's not what we posted. That's not what we posted. None of that is what we posted. That's the thing that makes me laugh. We didn't post anything from any article about that or a picture associated with any article about that, but it shows you the risk of algorithms. We did that thing last week with Stossel talking about, he was posting something about climate change and the fires, and he had everything in there, and it was both sides and the whole 9 yards, but they fact-checked him, and then he went to the independent fact-checkers, the people that were supposed to be fact-checking him, like, we never saw your video. That's the stuff that drives people crazy. The AI says that we essentially posted something about her and chopsticks, which we didn't do. She did endorse Biden. That's true. Where is the independent people that say this isn't true? Who are those people? It's an algorithm, right? That's what they say. It's algorithm. Algorithms are driving our lives, all right? So who's the algorithms designed by? Well, they're designed by people who design these algorithms. Could they have biases? Absolutely. Are they looking for keywords? Yeah. Could they be? Totally. This is the frustration that a lot of people feel. Very rarely do I see people on the right, the left go, man, I got totally censored. Well, no, and I'm not on either side. And this was nothing more than what's out there. You can Google it yourself. Did she endorse Joe Biden for president? Of course. Does it matter? No, but it shows you that there is so much that can be, so many people can be pissed about for a real reason. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on YouTube. All right, let me talk about Rough Greens. My dog Doodle. Crazy dog. He is awesome. He is crazy. You don't want to mess with Doodle. He's 12, 14, 16. He's big. He's bigger than he should be, but he's happy and he's great. And he doesn't have bad wheels anymore. His hips with arthritis, his fatty tumors in his legs. Man, we didn't know what to do. And we tried everything. And so we tried Rough Greens. And it's not dog food. You sprinkle it on your dog's food. It brings your dog food to life. What? What's that mean? It's got vitamins. It's got minerals. It's got probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. What it does is it has all the things that your dog's food doesn't have, because your dog's food was meant to stay on the shelf. It wasn't meant to be uber fresh. And this changed his life. His hips, his legs. He is bouncy. He is happy. He runs around. He's amazing compared to what he used to be, which was cantankerous and a little bit nippy at times when you get near his back legs if you're petting him, and I didn't like that. I love the new Doodle, and Rough Greens is all I could say is thank you. Now is your chance. Get it $14.95 for a 2-week jumpstart. So less than $15. Try it for 2 weeks. If it changes your dog's world and it makes them healthier, that's a win-win, right? Oh, yeah, try it for yourself. Go to ruffgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-88, 833-MY-DOG-88. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Darn, that climate change. Batten down the hatches. It's Topical Storm Chad, headed your way.
We've been completely transparent with the NFL, with the NFLPA during this entire process, and we're going to wait for their summary before commenting further on any of those discussions.
Mike Vrabel, coach, Titans tonight. Big game. What? Yeah. Undefeated teams playing Tuesday night. So Sunday, we have football. Sunday night, we have football. Last night, good game, by the way. Great game. How about the Chargers make the right pick with their quarterback? 4 touchdown passes. No interceptions. Almost 300 yards. Looks to be the real deal. But one game was postponed, and that's tonight's game. It's a good game. You got the Bills, 4-0, look like the real deal. They got a quarterback. You got the surprise Tennessee Titans. Made a big run last year. 3-0 tonight playing. But this game's been postponed. It's going to be played on Monday now. It's going to be played on Tuesday. It's kind of cool. And the Bills are supposed to play on Thursday. They're not going to be obviously doing that now. Something they're not going to be doing. They'll be playing on Sunday now. But you got a Tuesday night game. Prime time. Going to be kind of fun. I'm a little pumped about it, not going to lie to you. And I'm excited because if you've not seen the Buffalo Bills, they got a quarterback, Josh Allen, who's quietly putting together a year that is awesome. Big dude. He's got a gun for an arm. He's learning how to have a little touch with it because he threw it kind of hard first few years. Whether you were 80 yards away or 2 yards away, he's going to throw at the same speed. Getting better at that. But tonight will be fun. It'll be really, really cool. Little Tuesday night football. The NFL's going, God, if we could just do this like 5 days a week, we could own everything. Can't do that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. People are texting in about the our little fact check on Facebook. We got fact check, if you didn't hear, on Facebook for something that we never talked about. We posted a picture of Greta Thunberg and that she's endorsed Joe Biden, and somehow we were fact-checked that she did not indeed say that she asked China to stop making chopsticks. It's not the same thing. Not even close to being the same thing. It's not. And a lot of people are writing in going, hey, I had the same issue with something I posted. Look, fact-checking is great, but who are the fact-checkers? And when you find out that in many cases it's an algorithm and they just blame it on some other group outside of Facebook, it's a bunch of crap. We do our homework. You can indeed see that she, quote unquote, endorsed Joe Biden. And as far as the chopstick thing, that's just silly. Said the kid with the straws. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
President Trump, fresh off his COVID diagnosis, throwing out masks to supporters in the battleground of Florida. That audience standing shoulder to shoulder and mostly maskless, including the state's own governor. USA! USA! And as he left the White House and boarded Air Force One, the president also not wearing a mask.
My God, how does he do it? He's evil. No mask, all of this stuff. Oh, God! But, Chad, it matters. Does it matter? Like, do you not sleep at night because President Trump has a thing? Well, but it could spread. It could. It could absolutely spread. And it could not spread. And you got to take calculated risk. I mean, we're all worried for what? That it could spread and it could do all the things that it could do. And then we're not worried about the flu with children. We can get them a vaccine. But still, more kids die from the flu than will die from this. I mean, you're not going to close schools for that. Some places, I swear, I look and I think, and they're trying to cure death. You're not trying to flatten a curve. But these people, who cares? You know what you can control? Your world. That's it. You can't control anybody else's world. You can control you. If you don't want to be in a situation, nobody put guns to everybody's heads. Oh, you guys are all going to Trump rallies today, and I want you guys to be MAGA happy. You guys hear me? Nobody did that. They chose to go there. If they don't want to wear a mask and they happen to get it and they happen to die, I think if you ask them, they'd be like, that's a risk I'm willing to take. Well, I don't want you to take that risk. Well, let them take that risk. You could spread it to somebody else. That is a possibility. But how about you? Are you guys all in a situation now where you kind of put yourself in you're a little bit more aware of surroundings, what you're getting yourself into, right? Social distancing the right way. Hey, you know what? My kids, they've been at college or whatever, and they could be coming home, and I'm not quite sure there was a spread on there, and grandma's living with us. You know what? Maybe it's best that you guys stay there, or we'll figure something out. It's little things that you just have to be aware of. It's calculated risk. Somehow, we've gotten to the point where even before this, like I always took a risk where I was like, okay, you know what? That guy over there's got the stomach flu. I'm not going to hang out with him. I'm going to pass. I'm going to stay opposite room or whatever, right? That's, unless it's your kid, it's like that's because I don't like that. If it's a flu or a cold, something like that, a sinus, whatever it is, I'm there. But that's, for me, is a no-go. It's a no-go. It's just nuts. Where you're putting other people at risk. But other people are smart enough to understand, right, that there's some inherent risk. We need to figure out how we live through this, around this, and with this, and get through the other side without doing any more damage, because now we're getting to the point where more and more people, epidemiologists, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, veterinarians, I mean, whatever you want, they're all saying now we're getting to the point where the cure is becoming worse than the disease. We're going to have to start learning how to live. We're going to have to start learning how to move forward. We're going to have to start learning at this moment in time, because there is no, and I've asked several politicians this. Say you don't get the vaccine. We got a couple good therapeutics, but we don't get the vaccine. Are we living like this until? Well, we can't do that. Could you imagine one more year like this? Honestly. Could you imagine? And by the way, starting from here, not back at full employment and then we go, starting from 15% unemployment to 20%, 10% in some areas, 25% in others, but right around there. Could you imagine another year where we add another 10 to 15% on that, and we've got anywhere between 60 and 70% of the working age population unemployed, schools not in, and us continuing to see our economy go down? Could you? Well, I can't imagine that. I wouldn't. Well, those are questions that we need to ask. So what you're telling me, Chad, is you hate people and you want them to die. Exactly. It's exactly what I'm saying. No, or maybe we need to take a more targeted approach of protecting the vulnerable, making sure the people that work with the vulnerable, the elderly, and by vulnerable, I don't mean weak and frail and dying, but people that are working in nursing homes. My grandfather's in a nursing home. We put him in a nursing home 2 weeks ago. Not even that, like 10 days ago. And then yesterday, we made the decision to move him to hospice because he's not doing very well. First person that I told that, we were talking to say, is it COVID? It's not COVID. But the people that work with people like that, we make sure that they're compensated and that they're in the right position. Same thing with people that maybe, you know what, they were in a car accident and they're vulnerable. People are going through cancer treatments. We make sure that they're protected and the people that are working with them are compensated in a much better way so we can be able to shield around that. And the rest of us start to get on with our lives and live our life. It's not throw willy-nilly and just let's do anything we want to do. Florida, hey, everything's open. It's not that. Because we did the one thing about this, and I explain this, people are like, it's not even as dangerous as the flu. It's a little bit more dangerous. The difference between the two is we have a vaccine, we have therapeutics for the flu, and the other thing is it's the spread with this. The net with coronavirus is much larger. It's much, much larger. So, would the flu be as dangerous if we had no vaccine and no therapeutics? You could probably argue in many cases, especially for the young, it's probably more dangerous. But at this moment in time, it's time that we start thinking about living, returning to some normalcy, and protecting the people that we should be protected in a targeted way. Because I think at some point in time, we're going to have, because even when we get a vaccine, let's just think about this for a second, right? We get a vaccine November 1st or 2nd, right? So we have Halloween on the Saturday. What? Which I'm participating in. The kids are going trick-or-treating. We're doing the whole thing because I'm not going to live my life in fear, and neither are they. So we're going to go out. We're going to do that stuff. And then the third rolls around. The announcement. We've got a vaccine. It's only 50% effective, though, but it is effective. Kind of like the flu. No, the flu vaccine's not 100%. Some years it's 35, some years it's 55, but it ranges in there. So we've got a vaccine. It's 50% effective. Okay. It's not 100% effective. So what do? Do we just say, well, until there's 100%, we don't live? No, we have to plan for other things. One of the things I think the administration has failed is the planning forward, but also states. And states are doing their own things. You know, everybody wants Trump to go out there and be the leader of all the states in the sense that, hey, I want a federal mandate across the board on this. And you're going to get states that push back. Even Biden said, was it 2 weeks ago? I can ask and bring all the governors here and all the mayors, and we can implore them to have a mask mandate. But at the end of the day, there's not a lot I can do. No. And he said, I won't even know if all the governors will show up. Same thing. Trump could have said, all the governors, I want you here. Do you think all of them are going to show up? Probably not. That's politics. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. The battle is beginning. Amy Coney Barrett, finally get to hear a little. Yesterday was all about everybody asking the questions. You're going to get a little bit more grandstanding, and towards the end of the day, you hear more stuff. One of the things she talked about, we're going to touch throughout, is an originalist. And understand, when you hear conservative judges, they'll often say, well, they're originalists. Well, what is originalist?
You said you're an originalist. Is that true? What does that mean in English? Pass the button. I mean, we all love Senator Lee, but in English.
In English. Okay, so in English, that means that I interpret the Constitution as a law, that I interpret its text as text, and I understand it to have the meaning that it had at the time people ratified it. Okay. So that meaning doesn't change over time, and it's not up to me to update it or infuse my own policy views into it.
You go back and you look, and I don't know if it was Jackson, one of them said the whole thing about the court was supposed to be the thing that was the least harmful of the three branches of government. Meaning, look, we're not here. We don't make laws. We're not here to enforce laws. We're here to interpret the law and say this is what it is and how we interpret it and how that it, and you guys have to go and do the rest. We're not here to say, hey, you can't do this, and because of that, we've got our own giant, huge army that's going to go out and handle things. Or that's not what they're there for. So when you look at the originalists, it's like, who's an originalist? Scalia was an originalist. The conservative sides look at stuff as it is written and interpret it as so. People like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the people on the left side of the aisle, the other judges, they look at it and they try to make it a living, breathing document. Like, you go back to like doesn't matter how it's written, and then they bring it forward saying, well, I think the Founding Fathers, in some cases, would have probably, I interpreted that this is what that means. Now, you can argue, even as an originalist, that let's be real, the Founding Fathers probably weren't thinking of a lot of the things that we have nowadays. They couldn't even fathom or imagine many of these things. But it's not their job to make the laws. It's just their job to interpret the laws. They're not there to enforce the laws. This is what's in our Constitution. This is the Bill of Rights. Here's all of this stuff. This is what it is. Here's the law. I'm going to interpret it in this direction. And that's where the crash comes in with her, because she is an originalist. The right to keep and bear arms means these are arms. These are guns. I have the right to keep and bear these arms. Not bear arms, which would be hilarious. The Founding Fathers like, no. You have the right to have bear arms. Like if you had arms that you got off a bear, you could wear those. It's not that. The interpretation is what we're talking about. Not whether or not she's qualified. Not whether or not Merrick Garland was beyond qualified. Amy Coney Barrett is beyond qualified. They're not idiots. They don't get to the place they've gotten to by going, I've never seen anything like this before. What is it? It's a gavel? It looks like a wooden hammer. These are brilliant minds in the law world. It's how they interpret something. And that's the way we live in this world today. How do you interpret something? I mean, my goodness me. You tweet something and it's not what's said, it's how it's taken. And I think that's a perfect example of why this battle at times is going to get ugly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Masterclass. So we're just talking about Amy Coney Barrett, right? She's brilliant. She is, what you would say, she's a master in her class. She's truly a master in her class. That's what masterclass is. Masterclass is incredible. Imagine learning from everybody from David Axelrod and Karl Rove, teaching you how they craft a campaign in the world of politics. Neil deGrasse Tyson teaching you about science. Imagine having the people that are truly the thought leaders and experts in their field teach you. That's what Masterclass is all about. Each class is broken into individual lessons, fit easily into your everyday life. So usually about 20 lessons per class and 10 minutes per lesson, and it's filmed on high. It looks like a movie. And it's awesome. You can explore at your own pace. You can do it on your phone, your computer, your tablet, your smart TV. And all the classes have downloadable materials, workbooks, exercises, recipes. Because, yes, Wolfgang Puck, Gordon Ramsay, they'll teach you how to cook. What are you waiting for? 85 classes from the world's best instructors, the master at the art form that they are doing as a living. Get this. Unlimited access. Every masterclass right now. Just for being a Chad Benson Show listener, 15% off the annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Benson, masterclass.com/Benson, 15% off, masterclass.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Stuff trends. We get so stuck into the world of politics. Not me so much. I like pop culture as much as I like politics, especially now. People always, what would you do if Trump wasn't there? I'm like, I talk about all kinds of other stuff. My goodness me. So many amazing things to talk about. There's always an animal attack a day. You can't miss one of those. UFOs, asteroids, issues. We talk about everything, kids. Currently trending. Here's a perfect example. So you go to Twitter, Machu Picchu, best known tourist site in Peru, opens, been closed for a long time. But check this out. There was a single visitor there from Japan, and he's been stranded. So hopefully he gets to leave. No Bra Day to raise awareness for those affected by breast cancer. Huge fan. Oh, Chad, such a jerk. Such a jerk. YMCA, people are upset about that because Trump danced at the YMCA. And people are, of course, mad at the Village people. Why don't you pull it? It's like, just get over yourselves. You know what else is trending? We're going to touch on it in a minute. But it's one of the best trending things that's out there. And a story that'll make your heart smile. Amazon Prime Day is today. That's trending huge. Amy Coney Barrett. She is, of course, the SCOTUS nominee, who's getting, cheered by the right and grilled by the left. She's holding her own. I mean, she's smart. She's not going to take a lot of gruff. Joe Morgan, baseball legend, died yesterday at 77. Tom Parker, if you don't know who he is, lead singer of the band called The Wanted, good band, revealed yesterday he has terminal brain cancer. And sad news on that. But here's news that'll at least make you smile. Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, former wide receiver for several teams, including the Bengals for a long time. Outspoken in a very funny way. Revealed yesterday that Howard the Duck, arguably one of the worst movies in the history of movies, that didn't make careers but broke careers, is one of his favorite movies of all time. You, sir, I like that. You got a good name, and Howard the Duck, as bad as it was, if you look back at it now, it is campy and fun and stupid. And a grown woman kissed a duck. That's all that you have to know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, check out Chad Benson Show TV on the tube of you. It is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Hello, Toledo.
In the battleground of Ohio, an entirely different scene. Joe Biden supporters socially distant in their cars, honking their horns instead of applause. Biden painting himself as the grown-up in the race, calling the president's behavior since contracting COVID unconscionable.
Unconscionable? Oh, God. We were sitting there, because the rumor, and it's so hard, with Trump, so much of the craziness, you're like, wow, that was real? Because you don't know. I mean, first of all, I'm skeptical of a lot of stuff. So I want to know. I want to fact check. I want to double fact check, and I want to. But the quote unquote rumor was he wanted to leave Walter Reed Hospital and he's gonna have a Superman T-shirt on underneath. He's gonna rip it. He wanted to have a cane, and I'm like, dude, if you're gonna do a cane, you gotta go full Willy Wonka in the somersault. Like, if you're gonna have a cane, it's full Willy Wonka. Total Wonka. If you're not Wonka, don't bring a cane. Is Trump the, well, yeah, I think in many ways Biden is the grown-up. He is older. Doesn't matter. Who's more grown-up? The enthusiasm that Biden gets is the hatred of Trump. And the enthusiasm that Trump gets is for Trump, but is there enough out there to lead him to victory? That I don't know. 2016, I knew it was going to be close. I mean, let's be real. Most of us woke up the day after and go, I got to check my phone. It did happen. Like, that was one of those nights where you're like, could it happen again? It absolutely could happen again. And polls have been wrong. But people say, well, polls, they're, and I said this all along. Remember, in 2016, when we've talked about this, and we've but me being in the world of finance for a long time, one thing I realized was buyers are liars. People who may be buying something may be lying about it. They may be buying it, but they're not buying it from you. They may be buying it from you, but they're not going to tell you they're going to buy it from you yet. Meaning, I call somebody up, and people where they got it wrong, especially in several states, because they got the national poll right. Trump lost by about 2+ million votes. But they got certain states wrong. And buyers are liars, inherently, especially now when you think the other person's on the other end of the phone may judge you. Some people are very out and open with it. They don't care. Like, they're in your face. I got my MAGA hat on, right? I'm carrying the American flag everywhere I go. We're making America great again. Trump is my Yahweh, whatever it is. That's all fine and dandy. But a lot of other people were very understated. And now, more so than ever. But I also think there's a lot of people out there that Biden may have a silent bit, because I go places, I see Trump flags, I see MAGA. I know when he shows up somewhere, you've got throngs of people there to see him. Even if everything was normal, I don't think that's happening with Joe. But the disdain for Trump is so strong that it's driving people out for Biden. And yes, the polls may be wrong, but remember this. The polls and the pollsters, they do this for a living. It's analytics. It's a lot of different things. They do these things for a living. So they're going to get it right more often than they're going to get it wrong. And so many people get mad at me when I talk about this. The last there was 3 polls, really 2.5 polls. One poll got it right along the way about him winning the thing, but they messed up on some of the states. 2 of them nailed it out of the park. Yesterday, I said the Investors Business Daily, TIPP, who are one of the polls that got it right. Gravis doesn't really do national polls the way that the other 2 do, and they got it right on the states. And then when it came to, oddly enough, the LA Times and the USC poll were the ones who hit it most out of the park. All of them have it right now for Biden. New poll out today. Yet another poll. Biden's now 91% likely to win the race. Chances of winning the Electoral College, 9 out of 10. Chances of winning the most votes, 99%. Prediction range of Electoral College votes. Biden will win 422. Trump will get 223. Oh. I mean, they throw this around where you need 270, kids. Once you get to that 270, I don't care what else you get. I don't care. All you need to know is 270, and I win. For Trump, he's got 9%, they say, in this latest poll. Less than 1% chance of the most votes. In predicted range of electoral college votes, 116 to 315. So, look at Biden, 223 to 422, or 116 to 315. Doesn't mean it can't happen. I go back, October 16, 2016, Hillary Clinton was up by, I think, 10 or 11 in Pennsylvania and 9 in Michigan, and she lost both of them. She lost both of them. It can happen. But Trump has work to do. And for those of you out there who get mad because, you don't like Trump, look, I don't love any politician. I'm never going to love a politician. I like the stuff they do. Sometimes I love the stuff they do. Sometimes I'm really not a fan of what they do. And sometimes I kind of hate what they've done. But them as a human being, they're not going to live rent-free in my head. I want whoever the president is to do well for our country. And it's not going to be perfect. It isn't. I'm being honest. Does Trump have a chance? Of course, he's always got a fighter's chance. And buyers are liars. We may go to the poll that night and look around and go, oh, sweet mamma jamma, look what's going on. Trump's going to eke this thing out. And that's the way it's going to be. It's one of those things where Trump's going to eke it out, or I think Biden's going to win big. And I don't know if we'll know that night. Some people believe that we're going to know on that night what's going to happen. And as my good friend Anthony said, some people like James Carville are drinking the Kool-Aid.
Vote will be in on election night to have an early evening, to have enough of it done and dusted so we'll know a result?
Absolutely. We'll have Florida in election night. We'll have North Carolina in. I think a good bit of Georgia will be in. We're going to know, not only are we going to know election night, we're going to know 10:30 Eastern. This thing is not going to be close. We're going to know early. I'm not in any panic whatsoever.
No, we may know. I mean, for me, as a broadcaster, because I'm planning out, we sat down this morning, we're planning out what we're doing as we move forward here the rest of the year, because we have to plan stuff ahead, some days that we're going to take off, the holidays, the whole 9 yards, making sure we find people who are going to come and fill in, do all those things. You don't know. If this thing runs up the ladder all the way to the Supreme Court, let's go back 2000, the Bush, Gore, the whole 9 yards, what happened? That was January 6th, I think, before it was officially done and dusted. I can't even imagine what this potentially, that was one state. Could you imagine if there's 2 or 3 states that are at play and there's lawsuits everywhere and this thing drags off till early January and every single day there's breaking news and chaos and people are sitting on the edge of their feet and edge of their seats, and we're already in a position now we're fighting with each other because of coronavirus, because of the pandemic and the toll it's taken not only the health side but the financial side. It's the holidays. Oh, sweet mamma jamma. I don't know if I want to be a part of that, but it may be. So would I like to see it end on that night? Yeah, I think from a rational standpoint, who wouldn't want that? But do I think it will? I don't know. That I couldn't tell you. That I couldn't. I think what we're going to see is it may be a little bit closer on the night. Trump may even be in the lead. We may not get to that prerequisite 270, but by that following Sunday, Biden will have pulled ahead with the absentee ballots. Although we have so many people who voted early, we may miscalculate that, and the early vote may be huge, and they may not be counting a ton. Already 10-plus million people have voted. We'll be by 12 million by the end of this week. When you think normally we're right around 800,000 to a million, that's massive. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Again, today, Amy Coney Barrett, she was getting grilled on the old SCOTUS nomination on the Hill there. They're all coming. And this is about marriage equality, the ACA, and Roe v. Wade. That's it. If the Democrats thought for a moment that, well, she probably won't recall. And let's remember this. She's not doing anything. Other people are doing stuff. She's not suing or taking Roe v. Wade or marriage equality or anything else. They're just delivering it to the courts, and the courts are interpreting the case that they decide to hear. They didn't bring these things up, and I think we all sometimes need to remember that.
Do you agree with Justice Scalia's view that Roe was wrongly decided?
Senator, I completely understand why you are asking the question, but again, I can't pre-commit or say, yes, I'm going in with some agenda, because I'm not.
Oh, baloney. You totally are doing that. You're totally doing that. You're totally coming in. All you want to do is take away Roe v. Wade. Everybody's going to be back. You know, all the women, you guys, you're losing everything. She may even take away your vote. I said today, I look at her sitting there. She's got her little Handmaid's Tale outfit on. She knows. She knows. She's going to do the bidding for the devil that is Trump. Chad, it's not very nice you say stuff. Here's the one thing. Let's not forget. For all the thought process that goes into something like this, when it comes to Amy Coney Barrett and Roe v. Wade and all that, I get it. But you've also got Chief Justice Roberts, who is very much a person who wants the court to be absolutely above reproach, who doesn't like to hear cases that have already been decided. Why? Because he believes in precedent, and that court ruled, and for that, that's what it is. And in what she may do, if it ever gets there, they may say, hey, look, this is a states' rights issue, which people will lose their mind. Well, what's that mean? Well, some states, California will always have abortion. New York will always have abortion. Could some other states restrict it? And they have in the past? Could they eliminate it altogether? But she's not bringing the lawsuits. Other people are. And all too often, we look at the Supreme Court, we think they're the ones who somehow said, all right, today, let's hear this. They talk about what they're going to hear. But they're not the ones bringing these. And those things run through a gamut of cases at courts to get to where it's at. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Car Shield. 800-CAR-6000. Promo code Benson. I was telling my aunt last night. Said, thank God you got Car Shield. And she's like, yeah, because another engine issue. Car Shield's handling it. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They're taking it back to the dealer. Pay a small deductible. They get them paid directly. That's what I love about them. And it doesn't matter. Is it your engine you're worried about? That check engine light? Maybe it's the electronics in your car. I had an issue with my electronics. Took it to them. It got sorted out. It's that simple. I said, hey, I got an issue with electronics. Taking it back to the dealership. They said, fine. Boom. What is it you have a worry of? 800-CAR-6000, code Benson. Plans start as low as $99 a month. CarShield.com, CarShield.com. Code Benson again. 10% discount right there. CarShield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
It's nothing to freak about. What was it? Expected to be nabbed by Earth's gravity next month and orbit our ball of dirt. Where did it come from? Well, generally, it came from outer space. Specifically, NASA's leading asteroid expert says the newly discovered something appears to be an old upper stage rocket from the failed Surveyor 2 moon landing mission 54 years ago, which orbited the sun and is now drifting back home, estimated to be 26 feet long. They'll know better when it gets closer. But not that close.
Oh. How do we know, though, it's not a UFO? A UFO. How do we know it's not? We don't. This week, Trump, because One of the things we talked about, I mean, Trump had to do it, right? Like the day he was sworn in, I swear I thought he was going to turn it because he's kind of into the conspiracy theories across the board. But I thought the day he swears in, I'm like, he's going to look and go, all right, where are they? I want to know about them. I want to know about the UFOs.
Mr. President, as we wrap up here, are there UFOs?
Well, I'm going to have to check on that. I'll take a good, strong look at that. But I will tell you this. We now have created a military, the likes of which we've never had before in terms of equipment, the weapons that we have. We hope to God we never have to use them. But we have created a military, the likes of which nobody has ever had. Russia, China, they're all envious of what we've had. All the USA, we've rebuilt it $2.5 trillion. As far as the other question, I'll check on it. I heard about it 2 days ago, actually.
What did you hear? Well, there's a movie out called Phenomenon. And Harry Reid, people say, well, why does Harry Reid on all these things? Well, first, Harry Reid, Nevada, obviously. Secondly, Harry Reid is one of those people that, much like a lot of these other guys that have been around there forever, they get to sit in on super special, leave your phone outside, go into a giant metal room surrounded by concrete. We've got to talk about some stuff. And here's $1 trillion. And we're just going to draw a black line through whatever this is supposed to be. And in this new movie, he talks about it, and he's mentioned we have vehicles not of this earth.
Senator Harry Reid, who instigated the secret Pentagon UFO program, confirmed what nuclear launch officers have been reporting for decades.
There's more than one up there.
UFOs have interfered with our country's most powerful weapons.
Had been called upon by the president to launch, couldn't have done it. Nobody has to agree that why it's there. But shouldn't we at least be spending some money to study all these phenomena? Shouldn't we study the stuff? The answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, the Pentagon is going to release some stuff. The Tic Tac thing, if you've not seen it, is very interesting. Watch it. You've got our best fighter pilots flying, and they see something that's going from like 50 or 60,000 feet and dropping down to near the ocean surface in seconds. No heat radiation, nothing that we have or know about could do that. And they're very open about it. And that got out. And this is what he said.
And why the federal government all these years has covered up, put brake pads on everything, stopped it. I think it's very, very bad for our country.
Are you saying that there's some evidence that still hasn't seen the light of day?
I'm saying most of it hasn't seen the light of day.
Most of it. And if you're in the Air Force and you go through the classes, so you go to one of the things they show you inside the book is they talk about UFOs and saying that these sightings have been around for 50,000 years, and most of these people are very credible. And it's not just a regional thing, it's a global thing. 2020, what are you going to give us next? You got 2.5 months. Are you going to deliver aliens? Oh, man. Ooh, come on. Would you expect anything less? Not this year. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Was he out of control last night? I just saw somebody talking about Trump. Like, what was up with Trump? I mean, was he just out there last night? I said, let me tell you something about Trump. You say a lot about Trump. You know, he goes places. He's going to be a lot of different places. He goes places, he's running around doing things. He's a lot of different things. But he goes. Man, that guy goes. Even in let's just, for the sake of an argument here, right? We're going to try to take everybody off the emotional bus that they're finding themselves on. So sit your butts down. Be honest with yourself. The dude's got a ton of energy, and he goes. Biden doesn't have that kind of energy. Even in Biden's best days, he wasn't like Trump. That guy just goes. news.
Now they say I'm immune. I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss.
He's dancing around. He's doing all these things. It was. Now, it was a farce, you could say. You could say it was over the top. All those things are with Trump. I mean, he is Barnum and Bailey. A little bit of Chuck Lorre, if you don't know who he is, one of the great TV people of all time, and got a also bizarre, weird backstory. You throw in some politician now, and the salesman of salesmen, and that's kind of what you got with Trump. And last night, he did his thing. He's going to do it again tonight. He's going to do it again tomorrow night, and so on and so forth, and moving forward. But is it enough to move the needle? Is it enough to get independents who haven't already made up their mind? And there isn't as many as last time. Let's be perfectly clear. What helped Trump, little known thing here. What helped Trump in the last election probably isn't going to be there this election. That was last-minute voters who were undecided that broke overwhelmingly to Donald Trump. In some cases, I think it was Wisconsin, 29%. Like, that's massive. Not going to have that this time. Two reasons. One, we have known commodities in these two. People know who Biden is, old hand, steady, familiar. He's comfort food. Trump, still spicy, still hot. You can take it once in a while, but you're probably not going to eat it for every meal. But those are your choices, right? And comfort food's great when you need comfort, but after a while, it's like, it's pretty boring. I don't want meatloaf every day. I don't want this every day. I mean, it's nice once in a while. But over here, I don't know if I can handle that every day. And that's kind of where we are with these two. It's like, what do we do? What do we do? Oh. And I always go back to Winston Churchill. Was Trump who we needed at the time? And as that time passed? Did we need some shaking up? Did American politics need some shaking up? Did we need to energize a group of people who feel like their voice was taken away, that they were being judged by people in D.C., Manhattan, Los Angeles, and San Francisco? Did we need that? And then Trump came along. Remember, if you go look at Winston Churchill, nobody wanted him. He was in the political wilderness for years. They needed him, right? Sometimes in life, it's what do you want, and what do you need? And at the time, they needed him, and they got him. And when that specific time that they needed him for was over, when the height of his popularity, by the way, he had like an 85% approval rating, and he was voted out of office. Because you were what we needed in the time. That time has changed. We need something else now. This person's more of a post-war peacetime. You are what we needed. He got another shot at it, much older, later on. But is that a possibility? It is. But the undecided voters that were there, because a lot of people let it go to the last minute. It's not happening here. We've already got 10+ million ballots that have been mailed in. Overwhelmingly, at least early, the Democrats have a favor. Right? It's on their side. That could change because you're seeing in some states the Republicans are requesting more and more and more and more. So the possibility of that happening is very, very real. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not at all. But that last minute that changed everything for Trump, especially in several specific states, that breaking at the last moment, No. We know what we're going to get. 4 years of spicy hot food that may be just, sounds great, but at the end of the day, you're like, I don't know if I want to do that again. Or 4 years of comfort food where, you're like, I don't really want it. I don't care. Maybe I'll skip a meal here or there. It's okay. But, I just can't. That's kind of what we're looking at this point in time. It's frustrating because I do think America deserves better. And I'm not knocking Trump's presidency because I think the chaos and craziness, as much as he's been a part of it, the media's played a ton into it, and it may not be over. But the reality is the stuff that was all lined up for Trump in the last election, those stars may not align in this one. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. You can tweet right at our faces. You can text us. I try to get back to as many people as I possibly can. On top of that, check out Chad Benson Show TV and Facebook. And we're going to talk about Facebook because we got in trouble for nothing today. And that's actually the truth. Normally, we maybe screw stuff up. We're human beings. But we're pretty... we're going to give you the truth. I would never, Anthony and I handle all that stuff, and neither of us, I'm never going to put out anything as a lie. Now, you could look at something and say, well, I don't like that or disagree with it. That's totally fine. But we're never, and something today that happened to us, we were just like, Chad, did you see? It was like, what? And I've had a couple people around here go, dude, I was on your Facebook. What's that all about? We'll talk about it in a little bit. SCOTUS hearing, Dianne Feinstein. Remember, Roe v. Wade, marriage equality, Affordable Care Act. I don't think they care about anything else. Those are the three things that the Democrats are focusing in on Amy Coney Barrett.
You identify yourself with a justice that you, like him, would be a consistent vote to roll back hard-fought freedoms and protections for the LGBT community. And what I was hoping you would say is that this would be a point of difference where those freedoms would be respected. And you haven't said that.
They're going to come hard. And they're wanting her to hypothetically look at cases because it's about the base, about raising money, it's about elections. Hypothetically look at cases that may or may not show up. Now, you've got some cases in the pipeline that are showing up. The Affordable Care Act is one of them. Marriage equality, abortion. May they show up? Remember, I always have to point this out. She's not suing anybody. So Amy Coney Barrett would be the judge. She's not the person that is going out and instigating the lawsuits. Here, let me tell you what else the Supreme Court is not. They are not the upholders of the law. They interpret the law. They don't write the law. They don't also uphold the law, meaning they're not the people that say, all right, it's this, and now you have to go out and you guys, we've got our own special army and police force that's going to go out and enforce all these things. That's not what it is. They will interpret the law. This is what it is. And there you go. That is our judgment. So say we. Boom. But these are the big issues. These are the big issues for her. It's three big issues. It's nothing else. And it's the same thing for the people on the right. Marriage equality. People on the right, specifically the Christian right. They don't like the fact that they think it's wrong. People say, what about you, Chad? I said, first of all, I think government should be the way hell out of anything that we have to do with our private lives, including marriage. Secondly, I don't care if you want to marry one people, two people, a guy, a girl. To me, it doesn't matter. But you're a Christian. I am a Christian. God loves us all. Hates the sin, not the sinner. And we've all sinned. Trust me, I've failed on more than a few occasions. So I'm not one to speak or judge on anybody. If you're happy, you're happy. You do you, boo. All right? Secondly, abortion. It's a big issue. It's going to be coming up. And the ACA, which is a massive issue across all of this, which is the Affordable Care Act. For some people, it became unaffordable. For some people, it was a lifeline. Remember, nothing in politics is going to be perfect. It's about trade-offs. Thomas Sowell. Politics is about trade-offs. That will come up. What's coming up? The individual mandate. And they think that she's going to turn it around. Know this. May happen. May not happen. I don't know what's going to happen because, first of all, she's not even on the court. And secondly, What's it even look like? I think we also think that because she is a certain way, right? She is very much a conservative. She's an originalist. What's that? She interprets the text as it's written. This is it. This is what our forefathers and the founding fathers, and this is what it's all about. And that somehow, that if she saw something that she didn't believe was real based on the interpretation of the law as she sees it, but because she's on the right side of the aisle and Trump appointed her, that she automatically would side that way because she doesn't have any kind of gumph and brains for herself, which I think is BS. But everybody's asking her hypothetical questions about hypothetical cases. That, yeah, there will be some cases there, but they're not talking about those cases because they're not going to. But this is the political battle. Remember, these things today, you'll hear more as you go through all the sound bites. You hear things from across for the next 2 days. This will be a little bit more about her. The first day is always more about the people asking the questions. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Wounded Paw. An amazing organization, the Wounded Paw. So Wounded Paw recognizes the issues that veterans have. Come home, struggle with PTSD, because the founder, Ernesto, he was one of those people. He rescued a dog. The dog changed his life. Wasn't anything other than just a shelter dog. Changed his life, helped him get back into the flow of society and life. And that's when bing, light came on. I got an idea. And this is what his idea was. I'm going to rescue dogs, and I'm going to train them to be service dogs. And that's what he did. Then he expanded it to veterans, first responders, and their family. People who are struggling with everything from PTSD to physical injuries after coming home from their tours around the globe, or even officers and men and women here who are first responders. And it's incredible. So many dogs are being euthanized every day, and the dogs that he rescues sometimes are the dogs that are, many people say, you got to euthanize that dog. That's a fighting dog. But no, he trains them, and it is amazing. They need your help. Their motto is to save a paw is to save a life. You can give in several different ways. You can go to woundedpawproject.org, find out how you can donate through the gifted vehicle, which is the best way to do it. Great tax-deductible gift, woundedpawproject.org. You can go to smile.amazon.com, set your supporting group to Wounded Paw Project. They also take cash. The proceeds are going to be used to protect, advocate, and transform those shelter dogs into service dogs for our veterans, first responders, and their family. Find out what you can do. Go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
President Trump and I trust the people of this country. We also recognize that while we're working our way through a pandemic, we also have an election, which I think could well be one of the most important elections in the life of this nation.
Everybody always says that. Nobody ever says, it's not a big deal. This one's like if a 10 was the most important and 1 was not important, it's about a 4. Nobody ever, it's always a 9 or 10. It's always a 9 or 10. Every time, 9 or 10. It's the most important thing in the history of important things. Of all the important things I've ever seen, this is the most important things. And I've seen a lot of important things, and this one right here ranks up top as the most important thing. And people tell me that, Chad, you don't understand. If the left wins, they're going to single-handedly destroy America. Everything's going to look like Portland. They're going to burn it all down. I'm like, settle down. Settle down. Just like the people on the right, I'm moving if Trump wins because it's going to get us in a nuclear war. And then you find out you can't move because you don't have any money, right? People move to Switzerland. You know why? Because they have money. Rich people are mobile. You're average. Average people don't get to go places. They're not like, wish you would come here. It'd be great. No. They want to know that you're financially solvent because unlike us, they don't want to take care of you. This is the most important history in the history of important things. It's never been important. I think this is the most important, but other people are like, it's not so important. Look, every election's important because our country is changing. It's different, right? We're fighting at times for different things, and sometimes we're still fighting over things. Amy Coney Barrett today having to, talk about she's having to defend Scalia and his decisions about guns and about marriage equality. And everybody's looking at like the SCOTUS. I continue to tell you guys that Trump's legacy, if she gets in, and I don't see a reason why she won't, that's 200 federal judges and 3 Supreme Court justices. It's legacy right there you've built. If you do nothing else. He hasn't got us in any wars. Remember that? Oh, yeah, he's going to get us in a nuclear war. We're not even close. He's bringing people home. He's not dropping bombs. He doesn't be involved in stuff. He's cut regulation. He's been hard on immigration, and I didn't like what he did at the border. He lowered taxes. Some of it I liked, some of it I didn't. Again, trade-offs. There's a lot of things I thought he's done okay. Yeah, he's absolutely done more than okay. He's done really well. Thought he handled the economy really well. Hasn't been great on COVID. Hasn't been awful at COVID. He's had hits and misses, as has every governor in this country. Are you sure it's the most important election in the history of elections? Positive. It is until the next election. Then it'll be the most important one at the election time. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Justice Ginsburg, with her characteristic pithiness, used this to describe how a nominee should comport herself at a hearing. No hints, no previews, no forecasts.
Well, we don't care, Amy Coney Barrett. We want to know every single thing you're going to rule on, even if you don't know any of the facts, even if you've not heard the case. You tell us now! Take away their choice. Make sure that they go back in the closet. Give everybody a gun. We know that's what you're going to do. You know, it's funny. They talk about her and she talks about Scalia and the relationship they have as if her clerking for Scalia, she didn't run into Ginsburg. It's a small world. These judges know each other. They do. God, listen to some people talk like as if that she was, she was the one who killed Ginsburg so she could have her spot. It's like, what? Not really. I'm sure somebody probably thought that because there's always some lunatic out there. That's some of the fun that took place today. It's very interesting. Mitt Romney. Threw something out. And, of course, the left is hammering him for it. The left who praised him last time, but hammering him now. Because he said something I thought was very true. He said, I've stayed quiet with the approach of the election. But I'm troubled with our politics. It's just moved away from spirited debate to vile, hate-filled morass that is unbecoming of any free nation, let alone the birthplace of modern democracy. He continues. The president calls the Democratic vice president a monster. He repeatedly labels the Speaker of the House crazy. He calls the Justice Department to put prior presidents in jail. He attacks the governor of Michigan on the very day a plot is discovered to kidnap her. Democrats launched their blistering attacks of their own through their presidential nominee, refusing to stoop as low as others. Plus, he tears up the president's State of the Union speech on national television. Keith Olbermann calls the president a terrorist, and the media on the left and right amplify all of it. It's true. And everybody's like, well, why? They're not the same. No, they are the same. Keith Olbermann is a nut. He's a pundit. What he said, if he truly believes that, that's a scary thing. And if you guys didn't hear yesterday, Keith Olbermann talked about essentially everybody who's been associated with Trump, every single person that has helped him, that they should all pay like this bizarre price. And I was like, I had to listen to it a couple times. I'm like, wait a minute here. You can't be. Like, some of the stuff you're saying it's completely just insane. But yeah, I mean, that's the world we live in now. It's all about hyperbole. It's all about being loud. It's all about looking out there and saying to yourself, can I be the loudest person in the room? Because at the end of the day, all that matters is I'm louder than you. It doesn't matter if I'm right. Well, it should matter. No, it should matter, but it doesn't. But it should matter, but it doesn't. Later on down the line, it may matter, but at that moment in time, to build cred, to get eyeball, because for most of us, we want to know, well, what's the truth in the story? For others out there who are pushing whatever side of the aisle on, all they care about in their pushing is how many people see whatever it is that I put out there. What are my likes? What are my shares? What are my views? What are any of these things? Because that matters as much as the truth in the modern time we live in.
The terrorist Trump must be defeated, must be destroyed, must be devoured at the ballot box. And then he and his enablers and his supporters and his collaborators and the Mike Lees and the William Barrs and the Sean Hannitys and the Mike Pences and the Rudy Giulianis and the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Amy Coney Barretts must be prosecuted and convicted and removed from our society while we try to rebuild it. And to rebuild the world Trump has nearly destroyed by turning it over to a virus.
Is that what happened? So he turned it over. It's like, the virus is here. Quick, so we get the virus. But the removal of human beings, that's scary. Like, you're Now, is Keith Olbermann the president? He is not. And the president needs to have more. To me, the office deserves better than the rhetoric it has now. I'm not talking about the actions. I'm talking about the rhetoric. And when people push back, oh, you hate the fact that he says bad things, but you don't mind his actions. No, I like some of his actions. But here's the deal. A lot of people are idiots out there, and they don't quite get the sarcasm and what he's doing. See Michigan and the plot to take the governor. Should have been more forceful in that. I'm sorry. Should have. And apparently, it wasn't only her, because now there are reports that Governor Northam of Virginia was also apparently on some sort of list. And you shouldn't take any governor. Gavin Newsom. No, Chad. I didn't say anything. What'd you think? You said, I didn't say Gavin Newsom. What'd you think I said? That's just ridiculous. He's doing a bang up job in California. He's got everybody locked indoors. He's curing death. He's doing a bang up job over there. Making sure that if you do go to a restaurant, that you wear full hazmat suit, and you only get to stare at your food. No, you can't. Look, it's tough to equate the two. I like what he's trying to do here, right? Right? The rabbit attacks kindle the conspiracy mongers and the haters. He used the word haters, who take the small and predictable step from intemperate word to the dangerous action, which is so true. Too many people. That's what I talk about. You know? You're a person who's sitting at home right now, or you're on the road, or you're at work, or whatever. You listen to this on a podcast, and you're like, I'm not crazy. I know that, like, a majority of it's sarcasm and stupid. I don't take it literally. Some people do. They don't get it. The world is watching America with the abject horror. More consequently, our children are watching. Many Americans are frightened for our country. So divided, so angry, so mean, so violent. It is time, says Mitt Romney in this, to lower the heat. Leaders must tone it down. Leaders from the top and leaders of all stripes. Parents, bosses, reporters, columnists, professors, union chiefs, everyone. The consequences of the crescendo of anger leads to a very bad place. No sane person can want that. No, they don't. Politics is ugly and nasty. It's always been that way and will continue to be that way. This happens to be a situation where Trump is loud. He's angry. At times he's nasty. He starts hitting below the belt, and then they go from there. Don't like it. I don't like the way that he acts. And, yeah, you could point at times where, people say it's a dog whistle. For some people it is. The sane average person who may vote for Trump. It's like, no, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But there are people out there that take certain things in a certain way. By the way, the militia in Michigan, they've been there forever, long before Trump got there. One of my producers is from Ann Arbor, and he always laughs about the Michigan militia long before Trump. Same thing in Idaho. I'm here to tell you. There's a lot of woods out there, a lot of woods. People set up stuff because they're apparently waiting for a revolution. Absolutely. And I could probably even make an argument that if a Democratic president was there and they shut down things even more, that the pushback would be even bigger. But yeah, things have gotten out of hand, and we've stopped viewing each other as human beings. And part of that is because we have access to an amazing thing called social media that we've decided to turn into the thing that we can hate each other at with zero consequences. Meaning I can disagree with you in such a way as to call you horrible, bad names, rile you up, send out disinformation, do all of these kind of things. And pick a fight from somewhere across the country with somebody I'll never meet that I wouldn't treat that way because I've stopped looking at them as a human being and looked at them as like 178 characters. And that is not good. It isn't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. We were talking about this. Okay, I don't want to laugh, but I'm going to laugh a little bit. Sunday. 11-year-old kid. He's unidentified. He was arrested in Baton Rouge. What did he do? Took the police in a high-speed chase because he stole some keys or hot-wired a bus. Not quite sure how it happened. A school bus, bright yellow bus. 45 minutes they chased him. 45 minutes. The real miracle, they say, is everybody's okay. It was 3 cars were hit, but there was no injuries, nothing really to speak of. 45 minutes. The cops said at one time the kid taunted and flipped off the officers as they gave chase. Eventually, he smashed into a tree. He was booked. Charges of theft of a vehicle, aggravated flight, damage to property, and aggravated assault. Yeah. And we were saying off the air, like everybody growing up had somebody that was in their circle that you're like, that guy is bad news. She's not good. Everybody has a person. And I was saying, kid I grew up with. I mean, we started playing soccer from the time we were like, 7 years old all the way till, I was like 17. And it was always bad news. He was always getting in trouble all the way through. And he spent a majority of his life in prison. But you saw it. You're like, that guy is going to get in all kinds of trouble. You just knew it. And sometimes parents, they give you that 1,000-foot view that you don't see because you're like, I know these people and they're great and he's really nice. But they just have something about them, that gleam in the eye of, I'm going to do something wrong, and I almost can't even help myself. This kid stole a bus, and if you see the video, check it out at TMC, he was motoring. But he's 11. And you're thinking to yourself, I have a feeling this could be the beginning. The makings of something not so great. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Think about this when you're 11. He's got theft of a vehicle, aggravated flight, damage of property, and aggravated assault. That's some serious stuff. That's some real things right there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Car Shield is amazing. Love it. If you're looking for a way to protect yourself from cover repairs because you're worried that check engine light might go on, this is where Car Shield comes in. Rates start as low as $99 a month. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly. It's as simple as that. You pay a small deductible. The plans start as low as $99 a month. That's what I tell everybody to do. Call them and be specific. Hey, Car Shield, whoever it is on the other line, 800-CAR-6000. Say, hey, I'm going to use code Benson. And they're like, oh, that saves you 10%. and you say, I'm worried about whatever, engine, the transmission, I'm worried about the electronics in my car, the air conditioning, they'll get you sorted out with the right plan, because not all plans are what you need. So that's why you're specific when you call. 800-CAR-6000, code Benson, or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use that code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. The Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? What? Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Speaking of white privilege.
Bumped from July by massive delivery delays, Amazon Prime Day started at midnight Pacific time and runs through midnight tomorrow night. More than 1 million items are being discounted, with smart home devices, TVs, laptops, and robot vacuums creating buzz among people spending a lot more of their time at home. Given pandemic-related business slowdowns and layoffs, analysts say luxury items may not do as well this year.
May not. Luxury items. How well are people doing? That's huge. I mean, you can't, the coronavirus, whether the economy has fallen apart because Trump mishandled this. Oh, he totally mishandled. No, he's handled it correctly. What do you think? Let's just out of curiosity. Here's something for everybody who hates Trump and thinks that the coronavirus, he basically started the coronavirus. This is all him. And let me ask you this, just real quick. We haven't any kind of therapeutic up until the last couple months where it looks like we were getting closer. And I thought we'd be closer. And we've had some stuff. We've learned how to treat it better. And we still don't have a vaccine, which even if we have a vaccine tomorrow, it's probably the middle of the year before enough people get it that we can gain some sort of herd immunity-ish thing where we can slowly stop the spread or whatever. I mean, we're still a ways off. What's the economy look like under Biden? If he potentially could call for stricter lockdowns and shutdowns and try to force states and there's ways you force them, and you do that by luring them with federal dollars and other things like that. And some states may tell them, hey, Joe, you pack it. But I'm curious, what do you think it looks like? You think it's the exact same? Do you think it's way better, though? It'll be great because we won't have the spread. But then, unemployment. And by the way, we talk about unemployment. I usually put it at 17 to 20%. Unemployment's listed, if you will, officially at 7.9%, which is crap. Black unemployment, according to the latest studies, is at 30.4%. White unemployment is at 23.6%. That's huge. That's real unemployment. So I still think it's closer to 7, and it depends, right? Like where you live, it may be 30%. And where other people live, it may be closer to 10. So if you live in certain parts on the outskirts of San Francisco, it's probably closer to, 2-3%. If you live in other places where it's manufacturing, a lot of other things that have gone on there and have shut down or slowed down, or you're in the service world, it may be even higher. So, but yeah, I think that's more of the reality. And let's not forget the underemployed. So there's plenty that reads into that. But I am curious to see the way that this thing plays itself out. How does Trump overcome some of this? At the end of the day, even if people don't hold you solely responsible, as Americans, we're always looking to hold somebody responsible. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Let me know. I read that thing about Mitt Romney calling modern politics vile and going after a lot of different people. Tweet at me, text the program. Love hearing from each and every one of you. Chad Benson Show TV. We may disagree, and that's okay, and we should disagree. It's the beauty of where we are. But let's do it kindly. Maybe we teach each other a few things, even if we don't learn anything new as far as the subjects we could be arguing. Maybe we can show everybody, hey, you can do this the right way. Have a blessed rest of your day. It's Tuesday. Eat a taco.